What is up, comic book fans? Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us on the local comic podcast. This is a little bit of a public service announcement that what you're getting ready to watch does and will contain spoilers. We are talking about new releases. We are talking about books that have not been out very long, probably. And so, if you are reading any of these series that we're talking about, they'll be listed in the description below. And you do not want spoilers, if you're not caught up, just give us a pause, go read that book, and come back and hang out with us. Otherwise, buckle up and let's talk some comics. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the inaugural, the kickoff episode of the local comic podcast. This has been kind of in the works for quite a while, and we're super excited about this. So, real quick, I'm gonna hand it over to my guy here, and kind of intro him. My name is Travis, but you also know me as TrekWars or TrekWars Comics. I'm on Instagram, so come check me out. And I'm going to hand it over to my guy here, Mr. Phil, aka Rebel.
Yeah. Philly Phil. Also Rebel Recess. I have a small little YouTube channel you can check out. Also on all the socials as well. But yeah, that's me.
Yep, all the socials, all the Phil's Rebels YouTube channel will be down, posted in the description below. Before we get started, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, share this. We are just getting started out, but we're super excited about it, so we hope you guys enjoy it. A little rundown about what this show is going to try to cover, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about some other stuff here. But this is what we're calling the Absolute Show, and you can see it right there at the bottom of the screen. The Absolute Show is going to more or less be focused solely on the Absolute universe in DC. Started at the end of Absolute Power, and has moved into the DC All-In Special, and now we have a brand new fun universe with all new origin stories. It's super exciting, so we thought we'd try to do something where we are kind of just focusing mainly on the Absolute universe and trying to talk about some of the interesting things that are happening there. If you haven't heard of the Absolute Universe, jump on it now. It's still very early in the process. Most of the books are still just on issue 2, and it's extremely popular. It's probably one of the best things DC has done in a very long time, and it's just kind of really ramping everything up. So yeah, this is the Absolute Show. If we get some good response to this, we may branch out and do some other kinds of shows, whether it's some general shows just talking about general comics news or sales or anything like that. A little backstory about me: I'm a longtime collector, a longtime comic book enthusiast. In my as like a little side thing, I write content for Cover Price on their weekly Shakers report. If you don't know about Cover Price, they are an online pricing guide. They aggregate sales from all across the web, give you up-to-date fair market values. So that's kind of what I do on the side. So that's just kind of my backstory. Phil, you want to tell them about what you're
before
into?
We get to me, because you mentioned it, like you said, this has been in the making for a while. We just needed a little push. And obviously, I think Travis getting that Cover Price connects and getting involved with them gave us another push. And then, obviously, our excitement for the Absolute universe coming to us. I will say, yes, this is built around the Absolute universe, but Travis, we don't hope it does. But if Absolute does go doo-doo, don't worry, guys. We will find something else in the comics to talk about. But hopefully it doesn't go doo-doo.
That's true.
Yes, so we don't want that. But back to me, as you can see behind my head, I'm a little collector, maybe just a little, of anything in the nerd culture, Star Wars, comics. I mean, just anything. That's all about me. Then on the side, I guess, because my life is collecting. On the side, I am a teacher. That's my side life. A little PE teacher, as well as a little YouTube maker. but that's pretty much it.
Yep. So you're still streaming pretty much weekly, right?
Trying to, that new addition of a baby in the house has slowed some things down, but trying to definitely at least once a week. Trying to
Sure.
get back to my 3 a week, but at least once a week.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the streams are great. There's always fun stuff. I know it's usually game streams, but there's been some cool out of the box streams in the past too, with some
Yeah.
Lego builds and some cool stuff like that. So and always some fun giveaways too. So and speaking of giveaways. Once we get to, we're going to try and hit some subscriber counts. And once we get to some subscriber counts and everything, we will be giving away some books. My first book is a banger. It is the Jim Lee Absolute Superman variant. If you haven't seen it, I will grab it here in just a minute and show it. But that will be our first subscriber giveaway. So when we get to, haven't decided yet, maybe 100 subscribers. We'll say 100 subscribers.
If I'm one of the 100, I can win it too, right?
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, yeah.
And now we'll give it to a viewer, not me. But
Hang on.
it is a sweet book.
I'm off screen for a second. I have the book right here. Here it is. Absolute Superman #1, Jim Lee variant. Absolutely killer book. This will be the first subscriber giveaway. I don't know if you know this. All these #1s are getting scarce. The variants, everything's getting super scarce. But yeah, great book. Awesome cover. That will be the first giveaway. So, subscribe,
Minty.
like,
Also,
share, do all those awesome things. Were you going to say something? Go ahead.
I just said it was minty.
Oh, it is very minty. Very, very minty. Yeah, I had the plan to give that one away the second I bought it. So, yeah, so we're keeping it nice and safe. So, I guess we can go ahead and jump in here. So yeah, since we are covering the Absolute Universe, the normal way we're going to do this is we're going to start out covering any new releases this week, and then or this past week, and then we will talk about just a quick rundown of what's going on in the other series, kind of briefly. We'll cover upcoming releases out to a month. And then we'll just kind of talk about some random news or anything that pertains to the Absolute Universe. And then, yeah, we'll close it out and we'll just talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our first little section here. And we're going to call it The Rundown. All right. So, this week we had on the new release schedule Absolute Superman #2. It dropped on the 4th and gave us a little bit of a deeper look into this version of Kal-El's history and his abilities. For me, this was for me episode 1, issue 1 was a little slowish. This one picked up the pace big time. A lot of action. A little bit more look into this Lazarus organization with the Peacemakers, which are now a group, and got a little bit more look into Cal's abilities with this living suit called Soul. We found out, it was called Soul, and some of these powers that he has with the dust. I don't know. I love this issue. What do you think?
I liked it as well, because obviously from the first issue, if I remember correctly, that's when we got the reveal that Lois Lane is the what is it? Is it the works for Lazarus or whatever?
Yeah.
And she's the one who
She's an agent.
approaches him. Yeah, as the agent. And then this one, because it's different, she's not an agent of that sort. And then this one kind of goes into her time with Superman, which is also a theme. She always has her moments with him, but then how it puts her on this path of, by the end of it, she wants to write this the true story of what's happening, because this computer AI is everywhere. AI is taking over. So I like that little nugget of that. And then also, like you just said, the suit. It's funny. It's called Soul. It's almost like he has a soul.
Yeah.
It's a suit doing all the powers and stuff for him. I was really into it. So I liked it. Like you said, the first one, it's a little different. First one, it gets going in the second one. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to touch back on the first one. My favorite thing that Jason Aaron's done here has been to completely flip the way Krypton looks, to flip the way Krypton society is built. It's a super class-based society. You've got the science, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but the scientific league at the very top of
I think
society.
it's called the Science League.
The Science League. Okay, great.
I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, so you got the Science League. They're like at the top of the food chain. They're the top of society, and at the bottom you have man, what are they called? Are they called the? It's like the worker class. It's like the lowest
Right.
class, and that's where Superman's family or Cal's family is based in. But you find out they kind of explain a little bit that wasn't. It probably shouldn't have been that way. His parents were pretty outspoken against the Science League, and they were kind of relegated to that class. And these are the people that work the mines. And the interesting thing is they all have suits, and they're called the people of steel, which is really freaking cool. I thought that was a
chill bump.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's such a cool concept, and when you read that, you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. So I couldn't be more excited about I couldn't be more excited that this is in Jason Aaron's hands. I loved his Action Comics run when he first came to DC, and it's just really cool to kind of see that. Anything? I mean, what about you?
Yeah, I like the. I don't want to talk too much about Batman, but it's almost like Batman's parents as well. How Batman's parents are involved in Gotham, and then you have like the little same thing over here with Kal-El's family. They're involved, but like you said, they're in this class system because they go against. They don't conform to the Science League's beliefs. So they're only in there because they don't agree, but they obviously have the knowledge and the skills to be someone who should be higher up with some power on that and through those workforces and all those different things, but they've been, like you said, relegated down, and obviously we know there will be consequences for that. Um, Obviously, there has been. That's why we now have Superman on Earth.
Yep.
So I think it's just a cool, unique way to give us a different take on Krypton and its fall.
Right, because I mean, in up until literally now, Krypton was always kind of this shining beacon of a city, the city on a hill, like it just was beautiful and kind of what's the word? It was like a utopia almost, and it's very different. It looks a lot, at least the initial the way it was initially drawn by Rafa Sandoval, who I love his art in these books. It's so good. It looked very much like Apocalypse. Like it's very, a lot of lava, it just looked wild. So very different look, and I think it's super interesting. We don't see a lot about how Cal has gotten to Earth yet. There's kind of hinted at in the second book, so I'm sure we'll get a little bit more insight on that. We also got Crypto, and
Crypto.
I think it was I was watching a video. I think Comics Explained said, "Bro, I swear if they do anything negative to Crypto, I'm done. I'm putting the series down."
Crypto is having a moment, man.
Yeah.
Crypto is everywhere. Along with that, though, and I believe I'm not getting it wrong, is his parents also live like on a farm as well on
Yeah.
Krypton, which is just like the parallel to like the Kents on Earth. Like it's just so cool to see. It's crazy because you never think about it, but it's an easy story to. Not I won't say easy. I won't knock anything, but like you just flip everything,
Right.
and you still make it a unique story because it's still memorable and you still tie those things together. But it's just
Yep.
from a different perspective
Yep.
with the other characters. So
Yep.
those are little things that I like.
Yeah, the one thing I will note about the Absolute Universe is that, and I think I've seen, maybe it was Scott Snyder said this, I don't know, but they've really made these heroes become underdogs, even as heroes.
Right.
Even as
Yes.
heroes,
Yes.
they're underdogs. I mean, they are not expected to save the day, as it were. Like, so they've made all of these heroes very different than what we know them as. So, yeah, I loved it. I'm excited about this. We'll talk about where it ranks in the 3 ongoing series here in just a little bit. But yeah, so it's been great for me at least, and yeah, I'm super excited to stick with it. So anything you want to add on that before we move on?
No, if you haven't read it, go read it. Only 2 issues so far, so catch up.
Yep, it's easy. It's so far by and large, it's probably the second easiest one to get a hold of. Absolute Batman's just become a little bit of a problem. I mean, I know some local shops are not having problems getting it and keeping copies, but like mine, I mean, I go in on release day and there's nothing. There's nothing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So just try to get them as quick as you can because they do get snapped up pretty quick. It's really popular. So,
Wednesdays for the new people.
oh yeah,
Wednesdays.
yeah.
Book release day is every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. Yeah. So get out there, find out what time your shop opens, and get out there and get those books, and get a pull bag. Come back regularly. Help your local comic shop out.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. You can't put them on a list, and your shop will hold order for you, and you just go in every Wednesday. You don't have to worry about, for whatever reason, I like the anxiety of if it's going to be there or not. I don't know why I still haven't subscribed to any of these books. I just like going and just risking it.
Yeah, I finally got all of them on my subscription bag, so I should be covered. But just get out there quickly and grab them the first day. That way, if you can't get one, you can probably grab one online that day or the next day. But they go quick. So, all right, well, let's move on. We're gonna take another look at some of the other series right now. So. Right now, the only other two Absolute series we got going on are Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. I'm going to do a quick rundown. Get it? It's the rundown. I'm going to do a quick look here at both of these, and then I'm going to hand it over to you because I think I know where these rank for you. But Absolute Batman issue 2 dropped several weeks ago. It's the first one. It was the first one of the 3 to drop, so it comes out. It's going to be the next one coming up here on the release schedule. So yeah, second issue just kept the pedal to the floor. First issue was it was a big issue. It was a long issue, by far the longest of the first 3, and it was not disappointing. Bringing Scott Snyder back to DC to write this book was an absolute hands down win so far. I mean, Scott Snyder and Batman just works. And something I wasn't prepared for was how much I love, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering this name, but Nick Dragota. His
Dragon art. I was calling Dragon art. I just Dragon art. Just fire.
It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, that one, and then Absolute Wonder Woman. It is an. If it didn't have these other 2 series to go against, it would literally. I'd be screaming it from the hilltops. It is insanely good. The story is so good, and I think it's definitely underrated. I think it's the most underrated of the 3. None of them are overrated, but for me, it's the most underrated one. So I'm gonna hand it over, and tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about both of these.
Going wild for him. So we should say spoiler alert. So again, since this is our first episode, we are diving into the 2 episodes, or the 2 issues of each. So it could be a spoiler alert. It's like a review, whatever. You come back. If you haven't read it yet, if you want to wait, whatever. But we're diving in. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, spoiler
Good point.
alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yep, for sure. And
Absolute Batman is absolutely amazing. It is phenomenal, and I need more of it. So a little more backstory on me and my collecting. I'm just a key guy. I collect keys. Like, that's just my thing. When it comes to key, I don't go after runs. But if Snyder is involved with Batman, I'm getting the full run, and that's just how this one is so far. I'm going to get the full run. I just got to because he's amazing. I don't even know where to start. So again, just like Superman, we flipped everything. We don't have Bruce Wayne is not the billionaire that he is, inheriting all this stuff. This man is a grinder. If you've related to Bruce Wayne before, even though you weren't a billionaire, somehow we still find our ways to relate. You will relate to him even more now, because now he's a common worksman. He really truly built the city of Gotham. His parents, his father Thomas, is a teacher. Like
you
me.
love that.
I love that. His mother is a social worker. So again, the same kind of concept, except instead of being these billionaires that work and build the city through finances and all this other stuff, Wayne Tower, they're grinding in the community, doing the small stuff. And Bruce just grows up with that. But just like any Bruce Wayne story, we got to have a little tragedy. So this was the second issue, right? Or it kind of mixes over first and second, but we kind of get the deal. Even though Bruce is not a billionaire, Bruce still is on the path to being Batman because, as you find out, he's a very smart kid. He's almost like a Peter Parker. He wins this little science project. He built these. It's so cool. He built this bridge, and he's holding it in one of the little panels, and it looks like the bat wings that obviously you get can move to build this bridge, which you will see how he uses it as Batman. And he wins this project, and he gets a trip. It's to the zoo. That's right. The trip to the zoo
Right.
is what he wins,
Right.
which is funny. You find out Waylon Killer Croc is working at the zoo. Everything, it's all ties to. I mean, we ain't even got to that part. Oh my god! You get there, and then obviously something bad happens at the zoo, and in Thomas Wayne fashion, he's always got to catch a bullet for somebody. And bye, Thomas. And then that starts us on our path to Batman, Bruce Wayne. In issue 2, we find out that he obviously resents winning that science project because that led him to the zoo, which is where he lost his father. We find out that obviously he's not the billionaire. He's worked in construction. He knows the layout of Gotham because he's worked it and he's built it. So like he truly built Gotham, like not the way we typically think of
not
right.
pumped a bunch of money into building it.
Yeah,
He built
very
it.
right. So he understands the city because he's put his hands on it. And so it's just different. Bruce Wayne is just different, but he still becomes Batman, and because now, even though he doesn't have the billions, he's smart. He's intelligent. He can build the things that he needs to be Batman. And
He's also
in the work.
He's also jacked.
Huge. So that's part of. So later, he's at the zoo with Waylon, but in the first issue, we find out he's working out at the gym, which is Waylon's gym. He breaks a punching bag. He's too strong. And Waylon's like cracking him for like, "Where's you got to pay for a dog?" I'm like, "You'll get your money later. I'm Batman." So that's a little cool dynamic. We get to the poker nights. This is the fun part. Is like, so the flip here is Bruce Wayne grows up with his typical villains. They're his buddies in school.
Yep.
And as he gets older, they're still buddies. So you have Ozzy, obviously the Penguin. You have the Riddler. You have Edward. You have Killer Croc, Waylon, Two-Face, Harvey Dent.
Yep.
And then we haven't gotten her yet till the end, issue 2. Selena Kyle. So like they're all buds.
Yep.
Like, and that's so fun. Like it's just such a different take on this story. And they're all still criminal. Like you get the little nuggets at the poker. Like they're still doing crooked stuff or shady stuff for the most part. They're just not our typical villains that we're used to. But the main villains of the story, we haven't got to that yet, is the party animals.
Yeah.
We're finding out are reckless. They're
crazy.
Like shooting up daycares. Like this is, sorry kids if you're watching, they are violent.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
What my thing is, like, every time, like, we always talk about there's no new like great villains, and they try to introduce a villain, and then it doesn't take. And what is it every time Snyder introduces a villain? It is just like, oh, okay, cool.
It's like
we needed
immediately
this.
You believe in them.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more to it than what we have. The Court of the Owls. Like
the court instantly became a top tier. Everybody wants to see them. If you can include the court, do it.
They need a 3-movie franchise. That's crazy. Like, and that's something new that it's not our typical villains, whatever. There's like little nuggets. We find out that they got a little bit of power. They've been around for hundreds of years, type deal. R.I.P. to our boys Maroney and Falcone, because they don't make they're gone. Like, no one cares about them.
Yeah, they're running it. I mean, the party animals are in control, and
they are running things. And then so this all goes. It's running. The story kind of is not based on, but we see that Commissioner Gordon is running for mayor, and then there's this big old shootout that happens because the party animals show up trying to disrupt that. And then we haven't even mentioned the most
it never stops.
Issues, guys, and we've already got another nugget. And then running along with that is you find Alfred Pennyworth as like a mercenary.
He's like MI6. Like,
he's out here bounty hunting people, and he's so he's a little single. He's looking for someone in Singapore, and his little group's like, "Nah, don't worry about Singapore. You need to go and check out these party animals." So you'll find out if these are coming off the Singapore dude. These dudes, party animals, are serious. And then Batman's also there, so now he's watching Batman. It's like, because again, Bruce didn't grow with no butler. Ain't no butler for Bruce. He's a mercenary now. It's fantastic. You got a lot of little nuggets. It's just 2 issues of greatness. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's fun. The art, back to the Dragon art, dude. I love how he mixes the blues with like the reds and the orange.
Yep.
Batman's ability. Oh my gosh! Then we got the. I had the holy crap moment because I guess Travis and I, when we first saw Absolute was coming out, we saw this Batman logo. So obviously, if you know what's going on. You can see this Batman logo. It is not like your typical Batman logos. It looks like there should be lettering inside of it because it's too big and fat. And in the middle of the issue, I fell in love with it because this party animal pulls out a cleaver to fight Batman, and Batman's like, "Nah, I got your cleaver." The logo comes off, and he connects it to like a staff, and he's chopping dudes with it. So it makes sense. It's like an axe, a double-sided axe. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, this is great. If you haven't read it and this didn't excite you, then you're struggling.
Yeah,
This is exciting Batman
and
stuff.
and even these little spoilers that we're going over, it doesn't take away from just it is a pedal to the floor book. It has not
Non-stop.
it is nonstop, and in I keep going back to, and Snyder's written Batman several times now, but I always go back to that 2011 run, the New 52, and how once you started reading that book, you could not put it down, and
Cannot.
at least not for that first for the first two arcs with the Court of Owls, Night of the Owls, City of the Owls, all of that. You couldn't put it down, and this feels very similar to that. It just he has a unreal knack for knowing when to hit the gas pedal and knowing when to back off of it, and it seems like he likes to start these with a bang, always. And these first two issues have been insane, just absolutely insane. So, on Wonder Woman, you want me to take this one, or you want to?
No, you take it. But hold on, so I spoiled a lot. The Singapore guy. We'll leave that a secret.
Yeah.
If you have not read, go read, and I'll keep that main part a secret. FYI, the Singapore, the nugget we're hiding is at the end of issue 1, and I missed it the first time I read it. I didn't turn the page or something. I don't know what happened. And then I read it again, and I was like, "Whoa, I missed this."
It was kind of funny because you didn't say anything about it. And then I read it. I read the book after you, and I saw it, and I was like, "Why didn't he say?" I guess he didn't want to spoil it for me. And then we never talked about it, and I never even acknowledged it. I never even realized that you just flat out missed it.
I missed it. So I'm not gonna say nothing. Y'all go read it and come back and let us know what you thought. We'll definitely bring it up in the next video, so because we'll be off. But that's my last little nugget with Batman. We can move on to Wonder Woman.
Yep. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. So Wonder Woman. For me, obviously. And we'll rank them here in just a minute. But Wonder Woman, I'll just spoiler for this. Wonder Woman is at the bottom of the list, but it's not because it's not deserving of being well regarded. This series is good. I mean, just as far as storytelling and pacing and everything, it is literally the perfect balance. I have no complaints whatsoever with this book. I think the art is nice. I think the storytelling is great. A little bit of backstory on this one. Wonder Woman, instead of growing up, on the island of the Amazons and having this amazing life, she's basically the last surviving Amazon, and she's sent to hell. Where
Hell.
Yeah, literally sent to hell. And she's on an island, and I'm blanking on the name of the island. They said it in the second issue. But she's on an island in hell, and she's given to a witch. And the witch, funny enough for anybody watching Creature Commandos, is Cersei. And so I'm not going to get into Creature Commandos, but Cersei is there. Cersei's in Creature Commandos, so there you go.
Creature Commandos is great, so watch that too.
Super great, gotta watch it. So you find out. I don't know if they said it in the first issue, but they definitely said it in the second issue that is Cersei. And they may have, and I might have just missed it. So she's raised in hell by Cersei. So we now have
another very different take on the character, not the same usual growing up path.
So my favorite thing about this, we have Witch Wonder Woman. She's a straight up witch, and it's so damn cool. I love it. We get her coming to Earth, big, huge. She's very much existential threat Wonder Woman right now. So like she's fighting off these massive monsters and a lot of cool stuff. It was cool to see the first Trevor. First appearance of Trevor here in this universe, who was for some reason in hell too. We don't really know why yet, but he was there. And if they did say why, then I missed that too. Reading comprehension probably not as good as it should be, but I don't think they ever mentioned why he was there yet.
Well, there was two parts where she meets him, right? She met him when she comes to Earth, and then they just jumped to when he's in hell and she saved him.
Yeah.
So I can't remember why he's there either.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think a plane crashed there this time.
No, I'm not sure how he ended up there. But they had there was a moment in the book where they're having a conversation, and he's like trying to cope with the fact that he's in hell, and he's just like, I thought I lived a good life. I don't. And she's like, well, if you're gonna be in hell, this is probably the best place to be right now.
Yeah, he won ending up there with her.
But yeah, I love flashing back to the first book. I love and I think it's Hayden Sherman is the artist here. I love the they kind of did like a time lapse of her growing up and that empty cave that Cersei lived in turning into like a home. Like they would have books, and it was just an empty cave where Cersei was living. There was nothing there, and it slowly started to like grow into this kind of like home that she grew up in and that she became, Diana in, and so she's still got these otherworldly powers because she is still an Amazon, but there's nothing left, and it's kind of even implied that she's being looked for. So she was brought here for safety. So it's kind of even implied that someone's looking for her. So issue 1 pretty much kind of tells some of that backstory with a little bit of action in the present day. This one jumps back and forth a lot. And then issue 2, the last panel of issue 2 is just so cool. World-ending kind of threat showing up, and we'll see where it goes in the third issue. So yeah, it's one of these books where we have to put them all in the same group because they're all absolute universe books. Where I try to pull my bias out and try to not lean Batman or Superman or anything like that. If those two books didn't exist, this is a awesome book. This is one of the best books DC has out right now, without a question. For me, I think Absolute Wonder Woman is one of the best books that is happening at DC right now. It just is falling. It's just below the other two that it's grouped with right now. But the one thing I'll say is that anybody that's reading this actively, and you should read this, you should read all of these. This is a great time to get in on these. Anybody that is reading this actively, everyone that I know that's read it has said, this is good. It's really, really good. Plus, she's a witch. It's awesome. And she has a Pegasus, which I won't spoil. I won't spoil what the Pegasus looks like. But actually, it's on the first cover. Actually, it's literally on the first cover. Yeah, but she has Pegasus, the Pegasus, not a Pegasus.
His name is Pegasus because he's the Pegasus.
He's the mythological Pegasus, but he's undead, and he's awesome. He looks so cool. It's very, very, very cool. So a lot of fun. She is an extremely strong character. I think Kelly Thompson's written this really well. I think they got a feel for the way Diana needs to be right now. And I think this has been it's the most fun I've had reading a Wonder Woman comic in a long time.
Agreed.
Anything you need to add on Wonder Woman? Or not?
No, I enjoy it. Like you said, the biases. Wonder Woman's not usually up there for me, but this take a little more gritty, dark, hell. Like I just love it. Just makes it more interesting to just pick up and read. I'm all for it.
And you can even see on this little snapshot we have right here on this slide is there's a heavy use of red in this book. There's a lot of red and purple, and you were talking about the blues with Dragotta. Same thing here. heavy use of red. A lot of red in every panel, and I don't hate it. I love it. I think it gives it that feel. Even when, when they're in hell, you get those wide shots of the island. A lot of red and purple, and these monsters are all red. Her new suit is all red. I like that kind of theming. Everything is a heavy use of red. And again, Hayden Sherman. Really great art. Wasn't familiar with Hayden Sherman before this book. Very, very, very interested now in Hayden Sherman's art for sure.
I agree. Very good.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on. We got one more slide on the rundown, and then we're going to go to some news. So let's talk about upcoming releases. So upcoming releases here on December 18th, we've got Absolute Batman #3, so get ready. We've got also on the 18th, Absolute Superman #1, the second print. If you haven't seen that cover, it is killer. Go buy it. It's a cover grab at the very least. It looks insane. So I'm super excited about that. Have you seen the cover for it?
I have. I hope my shop has it.
Yeah,
we didn't have second print Batman. I don't know what was going on there. But,
it's very similar to those JTC negative space variants. Mm-hmm. It's all red, just a stark red cover with just basically the outline of Superman, and it's so cool. On Christmas Day, we've got a nice little slate of releases. Now, Christmas Day, your shop probably won't be open, but on the
Christmas is on Wednesday.
Yeah, it is on Wednesday. Yeah.
So what does that mean?
It probably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because the shipments, at least with most shops, the shipments come in, I think, on Tuesday. Now, I know a lot of my shops, they get a little. They don't get their shipments till Wednesday sometimes. So with the holidays, it may not be hitting shelves. Just go there, the first day they're open after Christmas, see if they got it. If not, see when they're expecting it.
There'll be somebody on Whatnot bored on Christmas selling them. So
Guaranteed.
Slinging them things.
Oh, all day. They don't. Whatnot never sleeps.
Never.
Like you, the first time you ever learned about Whatnot.
we ain't gonna talk about that. Let's save that story for another episode.
So on Christmas Day, we've got Absolute Batman #1, 4th printing. 4th.
And that's what's great. That's how you know these books are great. Is look, guys, if they keep making printings, that means they're good and people are buying. And if you miss the first or second, you have another chance of hopefully getting it. So that's what's good about this.
Yep. And is it going to get to 10 like Transformers? Maybe.
My goodness.
I can't believe Transformers is already on a 10th printing. That's crazy. But anyway, sorry.
We'll make another pod for that.
Yeah, the Energon universe. Yeah, I got I have another very close buddy who is very much into the Energon universe, and I'll give him a shout out here in just a little bit. So on Christmas we've got Absolute Batman #1, 4th print, Absolute Batman #2, which has gone to a 2nd printing now, and Absolute Wonder Woman #3. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen anything on the upcoming release schedule if Absolute Wonder Woman is going to a 2nd printing. I would assume it is, but if it's not, if it is, and I'm not mentioning it here, forgive me. Just let me know in the comments. If it is, that's my mistake. But I haven't seen anything about #1 going to a 2nd printing yet.
I don't think I have either.
Which again is kind of odd, because it's not. I mean, it's the easiest to get of the 3 series of the #1, but it's still not crazy easy to get. So on New Year's Day, which also falls on a Wednesday this year, we've got Absolute Superman #3.
That's back-to-back holidays. We can't get to the shop. Back-to-back Wednesdays. What are we doing?
And then finally, Absolute Batman #4 hits on January 8th, and I had to include a shout out to one of my all-time favorite artists, and his work. If you've seen it once, you know it immediately. Francesco Francavilla. He has the cover C for Absolute Batman #4, and it is insane. It looks so good, and so I had to include that in the snapshot there. I saw the look there, and I saw the cover, and I was like, oh my god, that's an instant buy for me. If I can get more than one, maybe that'll be the next giveaway. We'll give away the Francavilla cover. So if I can get a couple of them, I'll try to. If you aren't familiar with Francavilla, unbelievable artist. He's had some great work on the Black Beetle, which was a solo series that only ran for 5 issues, but it was unreal. It was so hard to get when it was out. And then he also worked with Scott Snyder before on the Black Mirror. So if anybody's ever read Batman: The Black Mirror, really cool book. And I think that's Snyder. Am I wrong? I think that's Scott Snyder. Black Mirror.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I'll have to
I
look
don't
it up.
recall that.
I'll have to look that one up. But anyway, any comments on any of these releases? Anything you're looking forward to? Obviously, Batman.
More Batman. I would like to add in case we have any new people to the comic game here, because it was a little bit of controversy. It even confused me. I think all three of them, Superman, I know Batman, maybe even Wonder Woman, they do say issue 1 of 5, I believe, on the inside. And so I thought, is this like a limited series, or whatever? But Snyder did say, no, this is just the arc, is the
Right.
first 5, and then so it will be continuing as long as it keeps doing well. It's going to keep continuing.
Right.
So if you dive in, be ready for the long haul, because
Yeah,
it's more
yeah.
than 5 coming.
Yeah, that did come up. Yeah, and he kind of, I think he squashed that. Was it on? I think I saw a post on Instagram, or maybe it was on Blue Sky or something like that. I don't know. If you don't know, all of the whether you're following, a lot of the comic creators are moving over to Blue Sky. So if you're trying to keep up to date on the news, they're on that platform. So if you're not seeing as much of them on Twitter or X or whatever, and you want to keep up with some of that news, a lot of the creators have moved over there. So just a FYI, if you go to some of their Instagram pages or their Facebook pages, they have the usernames on there. But usually, if you get on there and just search their names, they'll pop up there. So just a FYI that I'm having to do that to kind of keep up with news coming directly from the creators, because a lot of them are migrating over. Yeah. One thing to know, actually, you know what? I think we're going to cover it in the news. So I'm not even going to mention it about Batman #4. Yeah, so that's the upcoming release schedule. So next we have the latest news. All right, so I did mention at the jump that I do write part-time for Cover Price on their weekly Shakers report. If they're not affiliated with this show whatsoever, but I will say, before I started working for Cover Price, I used Cover Price for a year or more. So it is an amazing tool, and the website is super, super, super nice. They have all kinds of great information on the site. They have a daily Shaker report where you can see new all-time highs for books and then see what books are popping off. You know, sometimes there's just some crazy things on there that you'd never think to see. They also do a weekly top 10 where they look at the top 10 in sales, and that's actually what we're talking about right here. This week's top 10 on Cover Price, we had 2 absolute books in the top 10. They do an extended top 20 when they do 11 through 20, and there were 1 or 2 more absolute books there, but I'm just going to focus on the top 10. We actually had Absolute Batman #1 first printing and the DC All-In Special #1 staying strong, still in the top 10. I believe Absolute Batman was number 3 or 4, and I think DC All-In Special was number 9, and that's overall sales, not like all-time highs or anything like that, but just total recorded sales on the aftermarket. So they are doing well in the aftermarket. And like I said, there were some, I think Wonder Woman might have popped up. Maybe a Wonder Woman variant popped up in the 11 through 20. Anything you want to add here on this one, on these books staying kind of still changing hands a lot?
No, that if they're in the top 10, they're doing well, so you should be reading them.
Yep.
And then just again to piggyback off the Cover Price. Cover Price is great. I am not affiliated by any means like Travis is. They ain't got me writing anything. Don't want me writing anything. But anyone who is affiliated like Travis and other people in the comic community are great to follow, see what they're into. That's where I get all my information from, what's coming out. And again, it's like Cover Price is great. You can keep up with your collection. You can see what's doing well, so you can see what's not doing well as well, and then see what's worth buying if you're trying to get into the collecting business a little bit, or if you just want to read, you still see what people are interested in that's popular. It's a very good tool in this comic universe that we live in.
Yep. And you know, they really put in the hours to really continue to improve that site. Recently, this week, added a barcode scanner, so now you can actually go to coverprice.com, and if you're a subscriber, you can actually use the barcode scanning tool to scan your books into inventory. And yes, not all comics have barcodes. Sure, right.
They got that little Cyclops head on the side from the 90s, baby. There ain't no barcode there.
Yeah, so not all of them have, but it's a step. It's a step to try to streamline some of that, and to help you add to your collection there. You can actually manage your entire collection. You can do everything you need to do on that site. And again, this is not me selling you on Cover Price. It's just saying that, hey, if you're into the collecting hobby and you are interested in knowing the value of your books, it is a great resource. It's not the only resource, but it's a great resource. It's my preferred resource, and they do a lot of really good work over there. So yeah, it's just really cool. So great to see these books continuing to change hands. DC All In, just for anybody that's interested in it, the DC All In special was the official kickoff of the Absolute Universe. It is difficult to read, not because it's not because it's confusing. It's not confusing. It is printed in a very interesting way. So that front right there, that cover right there that you're seeing is one side, and if you flip it over, it completely flips the book over, and you get our three protagonists from the Absolute Universe. And basically, the DC All In special is the basically sets up the entire creation of the Absolute Universe, and so it helps to understand why things are so different in the Absolute Universe, and kind of understand what's happening there. And this all piggybacks off of the end of Absolute Power. So if you want to know even more lead in to where we get before we get to the DC All In special, read Absolute Power. That'll kind of get you set up for what's happening in the All In special.
And again, we are a comic show, so we should be doing our best to give you all the tools that you need. So that's why we mention things like cover price, and if you're new, the days and times and all that stuff. But also, to help you out, DC All In, correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, I don't know why, but it's been out a month, at least a month, and every time I go to the comic shop, they have copies. So if you want one to go check it out, because every time I go, they still have copies, and it's a good book.
Yeah, and
other than the printing way.
I'll tell you.
It got me.
Y'all, my guy was reading this, and he texts me halfway through, and he goes, "How am I supposed to read this? What do I do?"
It messed me up.
So I'll tell anybody that gets it, just so I can save you some headache, if you're listening to this and you buy the DC All In special, it doesn't matter what side you start on. It's just when you get to the end of it, close the book, flip it over, and read.
There's no end. When you get to the middle of the book, there's an end.
Yeah,
when you start over.
Okay, yeah. When you get to what feels like an obvious end to that story, yeah. So when you get to the middle of the book, the middle spread, it's very obviously the middle spread because it's a huge 2-page. It's killer.
Obvious?
Yeah.
And then you just keep going the long way.
But yeah, you get to the middle of the book. It's a 2-page spread of art. It looks awesome. It's crazy. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but it is a wild turn. Close the book, flip it over, and then read it again from the other side. And then at least that's how I assume you're supposed to read it, because otherwise it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
It didn't. It didn't the first time.
So yeah, it's two stories. It's two stories in one, but they run parallel to each other. I would, in fairness, I would say start on the side of the screen the side of what you're seeing right now on the screen. Start on that side with the Justice League we all know and love. Start there, then close, then flip, then read from the Absolute side. It makes more sense. It made more sense to me to read it that way.
That's how I read it to start, and on my read through the right way.
Yeah, and even going back, like I tried to read it the other way, and it was fine. It made sense, but I felt like reading the Absolute side after you read the first side has a little more meat on the bone, because you kind of understand what's going on with Darkseid a little bit. So, anyway, all right. So that'll cover the top 10. The look at the top 10 here. So 2 books hitting the top 10, staying strong on resales. This is not an indication of resale price. DC All In is far more affordable than Absolute Batman #1 first printing. This one, Absolute Batman #1, is popping. I mean, it is popping. This first printing is just exploded in price. I don't know if it's quite gotten to where Ultimate Spider-Man #1 got there for a while.
For a while, I think it's still there.
Is it still there? Yeah, I don't know. I've still got a couple copies laying around here somewhere, so I need to move.
Just laying around.
I need to move 1 or 2 of them.
Great
but yeah, so if you're out there, I have heard, now I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that there are still first printings of Absolute Batman still out there sitting on shelves at comic shops. I don't know how true that is. I've heard that even to some shops that are not that far from me and very close to you, Phil.
Well, you
So
didn't tell me.
I just
I'd
heard
be
this
there.
yesterday. So there's some that are about 10 minutes down the road from you that you might need to go look at and do some digging.
Ain't no way. I'd have
Uh,
bought them already, but ain't
yeah,
no
we'll
way.
see. We'll see. So yeah, I don't want to name any comic shops on here. I'm not trying to. Not trying
Don't tell them I'm
to
going first.
yeah.
Sorry, even though we're supposed to promote someone else, I gotta get it first. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm not gonna promo any comic shops on here. That's not what we're gonna do here. But yeah, and there's some shops that are local to your area that I've heard have some of these chilling on the shelf. So yeah, I'll let you know that one offline. But anyway, here. So yeah, that's all. That's for the top 10. I'm gonna move on to the other little bit of news, which has to do with Absolute Batman number 4. Now, this isn't huge, but Absolute Batman number 4 is going to be the year one issue. Is going to be a single shot, all encompassing issue, a year one for this version of Bruce Wayne. And the difference here is, I'm typically not crazy about this, but this is just a guest spot, so this is not anything that's going to be changing long term. But it's going to now feature Gabriel Hernandez Walta as the guest artist. This is only a one issue thing, but I guess they're trying to do it to create a little.
To separate it a little bit.
Yeah, to kind of keep it, kind of make it very obviously a flashback kind of issue. We're going to get the origin. So this is going to be a key book. I don't know if it's going to be a major key, minor key. It's going to be a key, but we're going to get the origin of Absolute Batman number 1. Did I say that All In was the first appearance of all the Absolutes?
I don't think you did, but you said key, and my head starts ringing when I hear keys, baby. So number 4 is gonna be super hot.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
I don't know if you did, but it is. It's the first appearance of all.
Yeah, it's and I don't know that they show. They do show up. Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
They're in it very briefly. They don't have any like major. There's no major, but they're there. It's the first
Yeah.
appearance. Like maybe we'll call it a cameo. First cameo appearance of the three of the Absolute Trinity. They're not the Trinity yet, but the Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. It is the first appearance. So I think for me, as popular as the Absolute Universe has been, the fact that you can get the DC All In special for so cheap still is kind of silly.
It's crazy. That's what I said. I can't believe it's still on shelves. Like I bought you a copy. I bought me a couple copies every time I go back. I'm like, well, if it's here, why not?
Yeah,
take
I mean, if
it?
nobody else is getting them, I'm gonna get them. Right? I mean,
And
I'm not
any
gonna clear the shelf off.
No, I don't.
Not
do that.
not the first week.
As any collector knows, man, sometimes those books that sit end up being ones that become popular, and you're like, dang, they were always sitting, and I never took one. So
Yeah, Venom number 3.
Oh, well, that one was sitting there. Well, we got to call out my flaws, or we calling out that, or whatnot. Whatever. I have Venom 3, but there's a story to that too.
But yeah, so you know, I remember texting you and I found out that we were going to have a different artist here. And it was before I realized it was just a guest spot because I was extremely worried. I was like, tell me they're not going to shift artists
Right.
3 issues into this series. It's so good. But it is just a guest spot. And that's not a knock on Walter here at all. It's just, I'm really loving Nick Dragotta. I love it. I think his style lends itself to this. This cover is killer. I'm pretty sure that's Dragotta's cover. It looks like his art. So there will be a guest artist. It's going to be nice. It's going to be kind of a change of pace, I think. But for me, it's going to be an origin story. We know it's going to be the year one. It's going to be an important book to set up the character. So this is one that this is one you should probably get and probably grab quickly before they start getting snapped up too.
Agreed.
Yep. All right. So that is all we've got to cover today. So let's wrap this puppy up. So covered some of the new releases, covered some of what's coming up, and let's just do a quick rundown here again of what you got going
Every time you say
on.
rundown, I hear flash in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're in the movie where he says, "Did I go too soon?" Is it in Justice League, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you say that's the first thing I think of.
So you actually brought something up, something I didn't put in the news because it's been about a month since they. Or no, yeah,
Yeah,
October, whenever New York Comic Con was.
yeah.
So at New York Comic Con, DC did announce that we were going to get 3 additional Absolute titles. They're going to keep expanding this universe, and so we have confirmed that we are going to get Absolute Flash, which if you saw the rundown, the little rundown screen just a little bit ago, that was him. That was the Absolute Flash. We don't know a lot of detail about it yet, and if we do and I missed it, then forgive me. Hey, we all got things we doing, so I can't catch every bit of news, but that is the Absolute Flash. We are also getting Absolute Green Lantern, which I am a diehard lifelong Green Lantern fan, so I am super pumped to see that and to read that. I'm excited about that. And something that I wasn't expecting to lead off with this soon, they're going to go Absolute Martian Manhunter as well. So that has also been announced. So we're getting all 3 of those books, and they're all set to release right now. In March of 2025. And I think Green Lantern and Flash have confirmed release dates. Absolute Martian Manhunter does not yet, so I wouldn't know that I would say Absolute for sure. That one's Absolute gonna handle. It's gonna release in March, but I think that I know that for sure Absolute Green Lantern and Absolute Flash do have release dates. So those will be hitting in March. I'm excited about that. What say you, Rebel?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we are building the Absolute Justice League, it would appear, so it'll just be a matter of time before that actually happens. But the way these are going, I'm excited to add more to it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm interested to see the Absolute Martian Manhunter. I don't even think I've seen any kind of any art or anything like that from it yet. So I'm interested to see that. They have released a little bit of art from Absolute Flash and Absolute Green Lantern. Everybody's got their favorite heroes and villains, and I do know that or at least I believe that there has been a little bit of a teaser of Captain Cold in the Absolute Universe. Excited, love Captain Cold.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great villain. So there's been a little bit of a tease of that as well. So that is something to note here. I just didn't want to put it in the news because it's kind of been out for a while now. So. For me, I'm pumped. I'm excited. This has been a lot of fun. It's fresh. People didn't like the New 52, and all in all, it wasn't a massive success. But there were some really good things that happened in the New 52, and I think that doing these kind of universe resets, where it's not a total reboot. This is a brand new universe. This is starting from the ground up. And it makes it fun. Everything feels fresh. Everything feels new. I think that's why the rebirth of the Ultimate Universe in Marvel has been so well received. And now all of those books aren't amazing. I mean, they're all pretty good. I mean, look, if you can put out a regular comic book every month, it's worth reading just for that purpose. But people don't have unlimited time. They don't have unlimited money. But anybody that's doing that, all the respect in the world. It's good in itself, and the fact that you did that. So for me, like I have a problem saying that comics are bad ever, just bad. The Ultimate Universe in Marvel has been extremely popular, and it continues to be popular, and they're continuing to flesh that universe out. I know that we're going to get Ultimate Wolverine at some point coming on that, and I'm not trying to jump shows here or anything like that, but Ultimate Wolverine is coming.
Get your keys now!
So anybody who's more Marvel sided and is more into the Marvel stuff, yeah, this guy right there. That's one thing you'll learn as we go along here. I'm very much a DC guy. I've been a DC guy for pretty much my whole life. I love Marvel comics. I read them regularly, but the bulk of my collection is DC, and the bulk of that DC collection is Batman and Superman. More Superman than Batman. That's just how it's worked out. But that's kind of my bread and butter. Green Lantern, all that stuff. I love the Justice League. That's just what I grew up with. My personal favorites are some of the more obscure DC characters. I love the kind of otherworldly kind of characters like Deadman and all that stuff. So you'll see some of that probably work its way out in future episodes. But yeah, so just as the disclaimer, yeah, the resident Marvel guy is Phil, and the resident DC guy is me.
Perfect balance in the world.
Yeah, perfectly balanced as everything should be. But so anyway, Phil, I'm gonna hand it over to you. You got anything coming up? What's happening in your world? And let us know.
Not really, guys. Catch me on the stream every once in a while if you can. Rebel Recess, that is, on YouTube. I do have to say, since we are getting close to the end here, this was a longer episode, probably, Travis, than we'll normally do. We are trying to catch everything up. If you enjoyed spending time with us, thanks. Our goal is to do one a week, right? One a
Yep.
week.
Yep.
So come back for more. Obviously, that's I just want to say that on my end. If you enjoy it, you do the likes, the subscribes, all that stuff. Again, this is well. I just feel like I have to say it because poor Travis, I did it to him one time. The spoilers. We do not like spoiling things, so we will say it's a spoiler, but and that's the point of our show. We're going to talk about these things in detail the best we can. So if you want to read it before we talk about it, please do come join us and experience what we felt with it. Or you just want to hear it, you don't want to read it, we'll keep you up to date on it, and we'll keep going and pretty much see how it goes.
Yep. Yep, for sure. And again, all of the handles, the social media handles, the YouTube channel information, all that, we're going to put that in the description below. And again, if you like it, guys, like, subscribe, comment. If you like what we're doing, or if you want to, if we mess something up, let us know. If you want to add your 2 cents. I'm all about it. I'd love to get some feedback from anybody. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming to the Absolute Show, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Laters.